done to change some of the policies around school lunches. So I'll start with the warm-up question, and then we'll go to an article about what the Trump administration has done about school lunches recently. And then we'll talk about whether, this was a good idea or whether this was a bad idea, and try to understand why you made these changes. Okay, so to start, if you can just introduce yourself, and I would like to know what were your school lunches like when you were young? So, I'm from America, and at least when I was young, the school lunches were kind of seen as, not great, kind of unhealthy, not the best food. So I'm curious of what school lunches. Okay, so let's start with Carlos. Carlos? Oh, are you there, Carlos? Oh, make sure your mic is on if you're answering. Okay, maybe no Carlos. We'll come back. How about Itzel? Is Itzel here?
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm from Mexico and I live in Toluca.
Nice. So what were your school lunches like when you were younger?
I would like eat cookies, milk, or a sandwich.
Mm-hmm. And did you usually bring your own lunch to school, or would you buy the school lunch?
No, my mother prepared my lunch.
Okay. So mom prepared your lunch and you took the lunch to school.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I know some people, bring their own lunch, and then some people would buy it at school. Yeah, nice. Okay, let's go to Martha. Martha?
Hi.
Yeah, hello. So where are you from, Martha?
I'm from Mexico. I live in Toluca.
Another Toluca, nice. And what were school lunches like when you were young? What kind of things did they serve at school?
I like eat and vegetables or cookies. Yeah.
And what did they serve at school?
Sorry?
What did they like give at school for lunch? What could they buy? What could people buy at school for school lunch?
Hey, my mom prepared my lunch.
Okay.
I don't like.
Okay, so you brought your lunch as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah. When I asked this question, what were they like? This is a way to ask someone to describe something. So just so you guys know, it's not like, did you like this or did you not like this? It's like, describe what you had for lunch. So, okay, so Itzel and Martha. So your mom prepared lunch and you brought your lunches to school. Okay, so let's go to Trung. Trung?
Yes. When I was in school, um, I don't have a lunch at school. I just have a lunch at my home because my home is near the school, and in Vietnam, we don't have study in one day. I think it's about until from to morning to afternoon to the afternoon, because we have to about some 1 or 2 hours in school, and we have to rest, and everybody can come back their home, and they have a lunch, and after that they will come back to school again. Yeah.
Okay. So you would go home for lunch.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah, and I know some countries are like that. Yeah, in the US, usually kids stay in school for lunch,
Yeah.
but yeah, I know for some countries
And
students actually go home for lunch.
And now the some school have a service food for the children, but in Vietnam, I think because we are the developing country, and we don't have a lot of good service like in the US, and children just have a normal food like rice, soup, or noodle in their school. Yes, not a restaurant. Yes.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah, good. Okay, let's go to Ronald. Ronald?
Hi, Hanan.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, I am from Peru. I live in Lima now. When I was in the school, this is a long time ago, but I remember my lunch usually was fruit, juice. If I have a good day, maybe a chocolate or some candies.
Okay, yeah. How do you say your name? Is it Ronald or Ronald? Can you say your name for me?
Ronald without D.
Ronald. Okay. Okay, yeah, good. So you would usually eat your lunch in school? Or would you go home for lunch?
Sorry, excuse me. The internet connection is wrong. Could you repeat, please?
Oh, yeah, it's okay. So did you eat your lunch in school or would you go home for lunch?
Usually I eat in the school.
In school. Okay. Yeah. Good. Okay, and do we have Carlos? Is Carlos here? Carlos? Okay, maybe no Carlos. Okay, so yeah, really interesting to hear some of the different things that you guys experience. So I just want to show you when we're talking about like U.S. school lunches, this is kind of the thing that people talk about. So usually there's this kind of like tray, and you'd have maybe like one vegetable, one like meat or main course, and a few like side things and dessert. Here's some other examples. And especially like a long time ago, or I don't know about a long time ago, like, but when I was younger, they're kind of known for being maybe not the healthiest lunch, maybe kind of like bad pizza like this and some corn. So I think people are always talking about trying to make them healthier, but sometimes this has been successful and sometimes it hasn't been successful. So this is the kind of thing that they're talking about in the US when they talk about school lunches. Okay, so let's go to our article here. So I'll play this for you guys and then we'll talk about it.
The Trump administration said Monday that it would allow schools flexibility when it came to rules about the inclusion of whole grains, flavored milk, and salt in the National School Lunch Program, which is administered by USDA. Some schools will be granted exemptions from the whole grain requirement in the upcoming year. Lunches won't be required to get less salty, and cafeterias will be allowed to offer flavored 1% milk again.
Okay, so talking about some of the changes that Trump has been making to school lunches. Itzel, are these changes, does he want to make it more flexible for schools to have more choice, or does he want schools to have less of a choice?
No, I don't do more flexibility because it's unhealthy.
But what does Trump want? Does Trump want more flexibility or less flexibility?
Trump give more flexibility.
Yeah, he wants more flexibility. Yeah, so he wants schools to have more choice. He wants maybe fewer rules about school lunches. Yeah, good. So it talks about whole grains. Does Trump think that schools need to include whole grains, or does he think that it's not necessary? What do you think, Martha? Does Trump think that school lunches need to include whole grains? Oh, are you there, Martha? Or how about Trump? Does Trump think that school lunches should always have whole grains?
Sorry, can
No.
you repeat?
Yeah. Does Trump think that school lunches need to have whole grains?
Whole grain?
Yeah, whole grains. So yeah, whole grains meaning kind of the more healthy type of grain.
I think Trump want to do in the good food for the student.
Does he want students to have healthier food or
Healthier food.
or not really?
Healthier food.
I think, yeah, well, I think that, a lot of people do want this, but I'm not sure if Trump wants this. So it talks about some of these rules. So let's talk about these rules. So one of the rules is, school lunches should have whole grains. What are some of these other rules about, Ronald?
Other rules include flavored milk.
Yeah, do you think it's a rule that they should have flavored milk or that they shouldn't have flavored milk?
Shouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, so the rules that they're talking about is kind of, rules to make them healthier. So, yeah, they should have whole grains. They shouldn't have flavored milk. And how about salt? Should they have a lot of salt or not a lot of salt?
Yeah, I think it's more salt than the before lunch.
Yeah, so, well, if you want to make a meal healthier, would you usually have more salt or less salt?
More salt.
To make it healthier?
The paragraph is not totally clear for me because when in the paragraph mention more flexibility. When the paragraph mention more flexibility, more flexibility for healthy food or unhealthy food.
Yeah, I know. It's a little bit weird. It's more flexibility for unhealthy food.
Okay, got it. So
Yeah. Yeah. So
I-
sorry.
So I understand in now the lunch is non healthy than the before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, the rules are like, in the past, there were, a lot of rules to make lunches healthier. And these were the rules that we just talked about. So, they should include whole grains. The second one, no flavored milk, because flavored milk has more sugar. And then salt. So salt usually rules about, should have less salt, because healthier, usually less salt. But then, as you said, Trump wants more flexibility with these rules. So he's saying, oh, okay, you don't have to follow these rules. You can have, some unhealthy things about the lunch.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah. So this is a little tricky in that way. So yeah, Trump thinks that, schools, can choose, how healthy or unhealthy their lunches are. All about the choice. Yeah, thanks for that question. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit difficult to understand. Okay, so let's go over a few more things. So Trump, what organization is in charge of the school lunch program?
The organization in a national school lunch program.
That is the program, and what organization
Organization, I
makes
think,
that program?
USDA.
Yeah, USDA. Yeah, so there's USDA is part of the government that deals with food, and then they're in charge of the national school lunch program. Yeah, good. And then it says some schools will be granted exceptions from the whole grain requirement. So does this mean that they will have to follow the rule, or they won't have to follow the rule? What do you think, Itzo? If you are, granted an exception, do they have to follow the rule, or can they not follow the rule?
Can they not follow the rule?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they are allowed to not follow this rule. Yeah, exactly. So if you grant someone an exception, you say, okay, you can do something different. You don't have to do this, or you don't have to follow this. Yeah, good. And then, talking about lunches and salt. Trung, will lunches have to follow the rule about salt? Or can they not follow this rule as well?
Sorry?
Will lunches have to follow the rule about salt, about being less salty, or will they be allowed to be more salty?
It's a lunch won't be. Yes. I think it's not. It's more salty.
So they will be allowed to be more salty?
They don't require. I think
Yeah, they're yeah.
they don't require. It mean they can allow.
Yeah, like not required means they kind of don't have to do something. Yeah, so they're not required to be less salty. Yeah, which means that, they can have more salt and be more salty. Yeah, so kind of double negative. They're not required to be less salty. That means that they can have more salt. And then last part, they will also be able to have 1% milk again. So basically, there were all of these rules about how lunches should be healthier, but then Trump said, I don't like those rules. I want to get rid of the rules and lunches can be unhealthy again. Okay, so I want to kind of think about why he did this. So Ronald, why do you think that he got rid of the rules and allowed lunches to be more unhealthy?
This is a question for me, for Rona.
Yeah. What do you think, Ronald?
I don't know, but up to you, because you are free to choose what kind of food you can eat, healthy and unhealthy. But if you can feel better, of course, your option must be healthy food. But it's up to you.
Yeah. So he wanted there to be a choice that you can choose healthy food or unhealthy food. Yeah. Itzel, do you think these changes are a good idea or do you think they are a bad idea?
I think that it's a bad idea because in USA have many children to obesity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The US, has many children. In this case, many children who are obese, we say.
Many children are obesity.
Yeah, who are obese. And
Obese.
then, yeah. To describe the children, you can say, the children are obese. And then, the problem is obesity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you said, the US, has a problem with, children who are obese, who are unhealthy. So probably not the best idea to allow these unhealthy lunches. Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Trump? Do you think this is a good idea or a bad idea?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay, a good idea. Why do you think it's a good idea?
It's I think it's good for health. Healthier.
To make the lunches more unhealthy?
With the in the allow the offer 1% milk.
I think the difference here is the flavored. So before they couldn't have flavored milk because it has more sugar, but now they can have flavored milk again. So the
flavor
changes here make the lunches more unhealthy.
make the lunch more healthier, unhealthier. Wow. I don't know that. I think if for unhealthy, it's a bad idea. Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird. Usually we would think, oh, they should, make changes to make things better. But in this case, the changes are actually making it unhealthy. But I think he thinks that the choice is really important. So, Ronald, what do you think about these changes?
For me, it's not total agree with this change because
Mm-hmm.
the school, the people is young, so this kind of people usually choose the unhealthy food than the healthier. So for me, it's not so good. But again, up to you. If you can choose unhealthy, it's your decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good point. So, yeah, I think some people really like the idea that, we can choose what we want or people can choose what they want. But of course, in the case of children, usually children don't make very good choices,
Of course.
especially when it comes to food. So yeah, that could be a problem with this. Yeah, good. Okay, are there any questions about this? Questions?
Yeah, teacher.
Yeah.
Whole grains is, I know is healthy food, but what kind of food is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it could kind of be anything that includes these whole grains. So I'll give some examples. So whole grains are just the kind of types of grains that like aren't processed as much, which makes them healthier. So you can have kind of whole grain bread, more like wheat bread or bread with different grains. But really anything that's a grain, you can have whole grain, whole grain cereal or different types of rice, like brown rice would be a whole grain. So kind of these things with more unprocessed grains.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, but for example, like not white bread or white rice. Usually anything that's white is not a whole grain. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, any other questions?
No, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I know this is kind of a strange thing that happened, but especially with people like Donald Trump, they think that choice is really important. So they think that people should always have more choices, even if sometimes that means that they make unhealthy choices. So a lot of people, I think, would disagree with this, and me as well. But yeah, for him and for some people in America, they really like this idea of choice. So that's something that's good to remember about this. So let me just do a quick review. So we talked about these school lunches and how there were some rules to make them healthier, but then Trump wanted to get rid of these rules so they could be unhealthier. So a few things you could remember, granted an exception. If you're granted an exception, that means you don't have to follow the rule. And then, yeah, whole grains is a good one to remember if you're not familiar with it. So any kind of these grains that are more natural, not processed, which makes them healthier. And usually they're kind of brown grains, like brown rice or different kind of healthy grains. Yeah, so this was a difficult topic, and I know kind of something that doesn't really make sense because things are becoming unhealthier. So good job understanding this and working through it. Okay, so we're at the end of our time, but yeah, thank you guys so much for class. Thanks for your ideas and input. And I hope you have a good night or day, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you. See you.
Okay, yep, thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Bye bye.